Ambassador Jbogar, our first interview took place in 2016, November 10th, just after your arrival to Macedonia. A day earlier, the European Commission published a report on the progress of the country, where they used the phrase state capture. Today we're talking for the last time before you depart from Macedonia and end your mission as EU ambassador. So let's see where we are today. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Indeed, my first interview was in Sitel, and my last interview is in Sitel. So it's respect for your television and for very good cooperation that we've had throughout these 4 years.
Thank you very much. Ambassador, there are high hopes that the EU-Macedonia Intergovernmental Conference will take place by the end of this year. How likely is that this conference is going to happen during the German presidency?
Well, you know, in order to have this conference, we, the EU, need to have joint position. We need to have negotiating mandate, as we call it, position. We are negotiating now, member states are negotiating. Only when we have this position, we can have intergovernmental conference. I see that German presidency, which is chairing the European Union until the end of the year, is very committed to finalize this process during their presidency and to have the first conference, which also means the opening of negotiations, under their chairmanship. So how likely, you ask? I would think that is likely, given the presidency, given that the member states are discussing already for certain time negotiating framework, and given that they all want to move forward and open negotiations.
But we have heard in the previous days from those diplomats' meetings in Brussels that Bulgaria was opposing pretty loudly about the usage of Macedonian language phrase in this frame. And also we have heard Bulgarian officials that have made it pretty clear that without resolving all the historical issues, Macedonia will not be granted the green light from Sofia to start the negotiations. So do you expect that Bulgaria will be putting an obstacle on this intergovernmental conference and the start of negotiations?
Well, negotiations among member states in Brussels are internal negotiations. So I cannot comment on them. They negotiate, they discuss the draft negotiating position, which was prepared by the Commission. But I cannot comment on the position of certain member states. We will come out when we have a common position, we have a joint position. So we are not there yet. So far, the joint position is from March, where we all agreed to open negotiations. Now we have to discuss details. So I cannot discuss really a member state's position inside the internal meetings. Of course, it's important that the implementation of the agreement with Bulgaria continues, and the member states are reassured that the agreement is implemented, continues to be implemented in good faith by both sides.
Last year, we were very disappointed when the Council could not reach an agreement about granting a date for starting the negotiations, mainly due to the need for internal reforms in the European Union. Is that still a problem? Would it be a problem? Should we wait for the internal reforms to be finished before we start negotiating?
Short, no. The problem last year was negotiating methodology, how we call it, and member states wanted to change how negotiations are done. And we reached an agreement about it. So we are ready to open negotiations as soon as we have this agreement among ourselves. For you, how our negotiation is going to be done. But there is no obstacle from our side. European Union is going to go into internal discussions about the future of the European Union. During the German presidency, we will start, and it will continue for 2 years. It will end during the French presidency, the first half of 2022. This is about the future of the EU, how the EU will change internally. I think it will be interesting discussion, debate also for you, because this will be the European Union that you will enter. So during these 2 years, nobody will enter European Union, but nobody is ready to enter European Union those 2 years. But negotiations, they can go in parallel. So there is no obstacle in that sense.
The chapter on the rule of law is probably going to be the biggest challenge for our country. Where are we today in terms of the rule of law, and how long do you think that it will take for us to reach the EU standards on this chapter?
The rule of law is always the biggest challenge, not only for you, for every country. And also the EU is becoming more and more demanding on the rule of law chapter. So this will be the first chapter that will be opened. Before we see results in this chapter, other chapters will not be open, and this will be the last chapter that will be open. I think it's in interest of the citizens, because citizens want to see the change in the rule of law. And when you will see the change, that means also that you are progressing on the chapter. But we've seen progress. We cannot say that nothing was done. We saw that a lot of legislation was done in the past period. We are seeing some positive signs in Judicial Council, also in prosecution, in Constitutional Court. We noted that positive changes in the last report. The next report will come in the autumn when we analyze again the situation. But of course, it's still a long way to go.
Yes, and the perception of people is mainly negative about the judiciary. All polls showed great distrust in the rule of law and the judiciary. And what happened with the Special Prosecutor's Office didn't help in the fight to restore the trust in the judiciary and the whole system. So if you were in charge of this sector, what would you do?
I would agree that the judiciary has an issue with the public perception. I think this is primarily the problem for themselves to reflect about their perception in public and what they should do to change that perception. So luckily I'm not in charge, but probably there are many things that one can do. I think first would need to meet all the institutions of judiciary, Judicial Council, Supreme Court, Constitutional Court, Judiciary Court, and simply brainstorm with them what are the issues, what is wrong, why is this perception, what they need to improve, to improve also in public perception. I would think that the cases like recent case with this motorbike who killed and then was this court decision that provoked reactions in public. I think that's one case when maybe one should sit down and discuss, analyze it. Okay, so why was this decision? What went wrong? And if it was the right decision, was it communicated? Was the problem in communication to the public? To explain to the public why did the court take this decision. Maybe I think that's needed to calm. But on the cases that provoke the public should be analyzed by judiciary especially to understand something went wrong, obviously, if the public is not accepting the verdict. Then I would look for reformers in judiciary and try to encourage them and support them from inside, because you cannot change judiciary from outside. It has to come from inside. So you need to find the reformers and empower them. And as I said, we see positive signs. We see Judicial Council with the new president taking important decisions. So what do they need? What does he need to go forward?
Will? Is there?
Support, I don't know. But if they will feel, judiciary, that they have this support, and that there is also expectation that they perform, I think there will be this pressure that doesn't need to be through vetting. You have people inside judiciary who want to make change. There are reformers inside. You have in prosecution very good prosecutors. We see that some cases are going very fast. You also have experience of SPO. inside now prosecution, which is a good experience. I mean, you said yes, at the end it ended because of the boss, but the office functioned well. They had a lot of trainings. They were on a mission. That's what you need in prosecution, to be on a mission to fight corruption. And then maybe you could also look, I don't think you are comparable to Albania, because I don't think that corruption is the problem in the judiciary, or high corruption as it was in Albania. I think it's more the problems like East European countries have in transition from one system to the other, that judiciary somehow is keen to listen to politicians, or is, it's very flexible, let's say. And maybe one could look, what did they do in, I don't know, in Baltic states, because there it works well, to make this, to empower judiciary so that they are now really independent and respected in the public.
Stronger when it comes to pressures coming from outside, not in terms of corruption, but as you said, influence.
Yes.
Influencing.
Look,
so Albania's example, you've been opposing the vetting many times. You don't think that's a good idea?
No, we don't think you need vetting. In Albania, it's a completely different problem. Judiciary there was completely corrupt, and that's why they need to do vetting to get them out of the system. You don't have that problem here. I don't think it's such a problem. I don't know, but I don't think there is such a problem with corruption. I think what people complain is more are different things, I think. So, when you say how long will it take to change, I think there is a difference whether you wish the process to go fast or you set it as a goal that you really change. Because if it's a wish, you wish that it comes true, but you don't do much about it, right? And then it can go forever. But if you set it as a goal, I want to do this, then you can do it very fast. But of course, judiciary cannot, rule of law cannot change overnight. And it's not one quick fix. It's not one person coming and fixing it. But it's a lot of small steps. But empowering judiciary, I think, is about help them from that inside. Only themselves inside can make it right.
Ambassador, in one of our conversations a few years ago, right before the referendum on the name issue, you said that resolving the name issue will unlock the train that is stuck at the stop. So I will use a similar parallel. From Skopje to the EU headquarters in Brussels, there is around 2,150 kilometers. There is no railway line, but still, hypothetically, if the train left the station after the referendum, where is Macedonia now on the road to EU?
Okay, let's talk about train.
Okay.
I think the Prespadil, the name issue, was the roadblock on the tracks that you removed. But your train was waiting on that station for so long that it got rusted a little bit. The wheels got rusted. So it took 3 attempts to move it, to shake it and to move it. So I think now you're moving. So you move from the station. And where did you come? I think you came to the border. You didn't went far. You came to the border. Your engine is weak engine, and it's a long road, as you said, because the road to the EU is actually not the road to the EU. It's actually the road to transforming the country so that your people will like it and will stay here. That is what the EU process is about. So you have weak engines, so you need help. So Brussels, and because also the road, goes on to the Alps, and yes, you go high up. So
I checked the line. What would it be?
Yes. So would be difficult. So EU is now discussing what kind of engine to send. Mm-hmm. So we are discussing the engine, and as we discussed before, we hope before December we send the engine, and it will pull you up to Brussels. I think this is what I see negotiations, because it's simply turning the country into the country that people would love to stay. Why are people moving to Slovenia? Because they like how Slovenia functions and everything, and other countries in Europe. So people want the same country here. Nobody wants to leave. And the EU process is simply the engine that helps you transform faster.
Ambassador, you mentioned Slovenia. What is your next mission?
Well, my next mission is to return to Slovenia. Okay. I've been away for 8.5 years, and Doma si je Doma, and I want to return home. So this is my first goal. I'll return home. I go to Foreign Ministry, and then I'll see what I will do.
Well, good luck, and thank you for the previous 4 years and your mission done here.
Thank you very much. It was a great time. I believe I'm leaving a different country from the one that I came to 4 years ago, and I'm leaving different person from the one that arrived here 4 years ago. So thank you very much for the experience and for all the support.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.